الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وإن الله لمع المحسنين. وقال وكان من دعاء رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث أصلح لي شأني كله ولا تكلني إلى نفسي طرفة عين. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the guidance of Islam, and He has enabled us to be alive on this beautiful day of Jum'ah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has blessed us and given us so many favors, and one of them is the guidance that He has put us upon, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and He has allowed us to tread that path of Sirat al-Mustaqim with istiqamah, with steadfastness. So we need to keep our guard up all the time. And when it comes to being on the defense, we know we have enemies. And our enemies, we need to mark them, know them, and be able to stay away from them. The enemies of insan are many. We have nafs, the ego of insan, which is one of the greatest enemies. We have the shaitan. Inna shaitan lakum aduwwun fattakhiduhu aduwwa innama yad'u hizbahu liyakunu min ashab as-sa'ir. We have the devil, the Satan, who is continuously working to make us, to ground us, and to put us down. But he also adorns and makes things, beautifies things for us, to deceive us, to put us into his trickery, to put us into deception. Inna kayda shaytani kana da'ifa. And it's very subtle the way he does that, because he can poison you slowly and you won't even know it. Today, inshallah, we'll talk a little bit about how we can understand, first of all, our enemies, and after that, we try to stay away from them and to plan better our life so that we not become dysfunctional people and we stay upon our purpose and live a meaningful life, a successful life, one that will keep us upon this Sirat al-Mustaqim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in the Quran, those who struggle in our path, those who make mujahada. This verse being Makki, it tells us that just before the hijrah to Medina, since jihad has not been waged yet, in Mecca, in dealing with the persecution, the oppression from the kuffar, from the disbelievers, what does it mean to do mujahada? وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. So the meaning of juhad, as the ulama have explained, mufassirin have explained, is that there is a struggle here to basically control oneself and to be on the defensive when it comes to, or individually, when it comes to protecting oneself from the disbelievers and their plots. Obviously, later on, it became a group effort and it was stronger then. But in Mecca, that was the hukam, to be patient, to be tolerant, to keep on doing the best, to stay away from any types of skirmishes, وغير ذلك. But at the same time, there is a message for those that any impediment, any problem that comes in the way of faith, That is a struggle as well, and you need to get rid of that. You need to push it aside. You need to know how to maneuver. If you don't, you're going to get caught up and you're going to be in trouble. And so, staying away from obviously outer enemies is obvious, but the inner enemy, the ego, the nafs and the shaitan, the mujahadatun nafs is also part of this verse, telling us that if you want to remain upon this path, you need to struggle. And that struggle is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. You know, there's people who think when they are practicing the deen that it's just going to be a piece of cake, it's going to be an easy path to tread. Well, that's not the case. We would like it to be the case, but that's not how it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put us in this dunya for a test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created insan in toil. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ, in mashaqqa, in toil, in burden, in hardship, in difficulty. They're going to keep coming. So what are you going to do about it? Well, as you know, in order for things to become easy, in order for us to come to a level where we can start feeling good in difficulty, is the important part. That's where we have to start seeing the bigger picture. We have to start looking forward to our purpose and the aim behind all what we are doing. And we have to also make sure we're keeping up the principles and the values of our deen. Those things that will compel us or will make it easy for us to get there. Because if you don't have them, you don't equip yourself with them, the Quran and the Sunnah, then it's a very difficult struggle. And many different types of thoughts, skepticism, doubts will destroy one's faith, will destroy these principles and these values. And they will corrode to such and become so much corrupted that you will have a difficulty making what is haqq, what is batil, what is right, what is wrong. You won't know. You will be in utter confusion. So it's important that you become well grounded with that. And we talked last week about how you can do that, how you can solidify that, how you can make a solid foundation that's based upon values, these values, by daily getting knowledge, building up your knowledge of the Quran and the Sunnah. So today we're going to concentrate on looking at our enemies. And we start with the nafs. Nafs-e ammara. Nafs-e ammara is one of the greatest enemies of us. The one that commands us to do evil. And as the scholars have said, in order for us to bring this nafs-e ammara into control, in order to tame that ego that you have, the desires that you have, it takes effort. And you have to continuously make that effort. It can't be just one thing that you magically become good all of a sudden, or you are able to control that. Because it's going to be nagging at you continuously. And it's going to be there, and you have to know what to do in order to get out of that. And this, when a person is able to train, when a person is able to tame it, to control it, to subdue it, then it goes to the next level of becoming nafs-e lawwama, which is basically that nafs which continuously is struggling between good and bad, right? But the good has now overcome it. And it enables it to see the good and knows what it needs to do. At the same time, when evil presents it, it starts to curse that evil. Say, get away. Oh, not again. He understands what he needs to do to get out of that. So that's a next step above that one that is feeding its ego continuously. Whatever good, bad comes, just feed it, just feed it, just feed it. Doesn't matter. Lawful, unlawful, doesn't make a difference. So once you get to that distinction, once you get to a level that you're out of that ego, out of taming yourself, controlling your nafs, then you are at that level where you start to look back at the past. You start looking back at your bad deeds and start cursing those things. In other words, you're putting them down. You're trying to subdue them, keep them away. Because that, is a way that you will not be in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You'll be distanced from the mercy of Allah. And so slowly, you start to tame it, you start to control it, you refine the nafs to the point where what happens is you are now satisfied with difficulty, with toil, with burden. It's become your nature that this is a difficult path. It's tough to, think about it. Sin is something that has ladha. It has a attractiveness towards it. It makes people, it makes us feel good temporarily, whatever it is. Your eyes feel good. Your sound, you hear it, you see it. All of this, it's attractiveness. It's tazyeen. The shaitan is constantly doing that. As he said, that I'm going to make it beautify evil for them in this earth. That's what he's doing right now. He's going to beautify it to the point where, it feels good. That's what he's doing. He's going to constantly do that. And so, Allah is telling us, Inna shaytana lakum aduwwun. Shaitan is your enemy. فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. Make him your enemy. Understand your enemy. So, in order to understand that, let's go back to the nafs for a second. The nafs, whenever you see something, whenever you hear something, whenever an evil thought comes into your heart, what are you doing about that? What are you doing about that? What is your nafs doing about it? Are you able to refine your nafs, control your nafs, and see, hey, look, I have the option here. I have the option here to look, to listen, to think about. That's my option, or to not think about, or to not, keep on thinking about that thing over and over again that's in my mind. You have the option, the ikhtiyar, ghayr ikhtiyar. To intentionally keep that thought in your heart, in your mind, or to get rid of it. Is that in your control or not? It is. It is in your control. So what are you doing about that is the question. Are you able to make that decision for yourself? Are you weak? Are you going to let your thoughts take over your life and to control what you're doing? Are you going to continuously keep on becoming a fugitive, a prisoner of the past, and keep on worrying about the future or this and that? Or are you going to choose to live the moment? What are you going to do? If you're a man, if you're a person who's going to be empowering themselves with the guidance of the messengers, then you will confront them. You won't let them take control of you. You don't let those thoughts become the person who you shouldn't be becoming. You'll stand up, you'll confront them, and what will you do? As our ulama have said, the way to rid ourselves from these thoughts, from these absurdities, from these vain things, is to replace them with good things. Replace them with better things. And Also to not entertain them. That evil thought, that's what we do. It keeps lingering, you keep thinking, you keep lingering, it's going to stay there. So first of all, forget about it. Let it go. Why do you keep thinking about it? What's up with that? You have chosen now that ghair ikhtiyar, that unintentional thought has become now intentional. Now you're doing something that's wrong. And so don't blame your nafs. You've made that choice to entertain it. We're supposed to subdue it and control it. So these are two ways. Number one, don't entertain evil thoughts. Let them go. Because we're not mukallaf of those things that come, you see something, astaghfirullah, you turn your ears away, you turn your eyes away, and it's lingering there. And this is what I'm not going to go into detail, but our ulama have broken down the thoughts even, the waswas, the whispers that come from shaitan, that come and go into our hearts. But you have the option to filter out those evil thoughts and get rid of them and replace them with good ones. That's how you're going to repel those things. Learn it. Learn to do that. And inshallah, you will be able to transition this nafs ammara into nafs lawama, into nafs mutma'inna, into a good, healthy mind and heart. Our inner self is becoming destroyed when we let our thoughts control us, evil thoughts. So that's the first thing. And that's the enemy we have to get rid of. Secondly, the shaitan. And the shaitan, as he said that I'm going to, Ya Rab, I'm going to misguide all of them because you have misguided me. He blamed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rabbi bima aghwaytani. You have misguided. He's blaming Allah for misguiding him when he knows the truth is that he couldn't be strong enough to make the right decision. How about you? Are you going to fall into that trap as well? Or are you going to be strong? So we don't do the blame game. A lot of us play games. That's all it is. It's about, and we come into religion, we start playing those games as well. We try to outdo others in our conversations. We always want to be one ahead. And we're thinking we are increasing our religiosity. Really, it's just a game. Upping yourself one above the next. So be careful. Be careful. Don't play games. And try to understand if you are in those games, which you will be a part of. You'll sometimes win, you'll sometimes lose. But you have to always have the right mindset that I need to do the right thing to take myself out of this and stay upon my purpose. Otherwise, it will be a very slippery slope. And so, the shaitan is constantly trying to deceive us. And he will not order you to do a sin. Let's put it straight. You think he's an enemy that's, he's just going to go all out. And he's just going to, take it out on all of it. No. He's going to do tazheen. Beautify sin for you. Like we just talked about, sin is something that is ladhiz. It's something that you feel tasteful, it's attractive, it's beautiful, right? So you're lured towards it. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to put a little way to just lure you towards it. Not going to tell you to do it. Like, for example, he will say, hey, don't pray too much. Not going to go and say that. Not going to go stay away from reciting the Quran, stay away from praying, stay away from song, hajj, wa ghayra dhalik. They're going to say that. His trick, inna kayda shaytani kana da'ifa, is very, very subtle, very weak, very subtle. Puts these little things in for you to think about, for you to think about, for you to think about. It's constantly bothering you, nagging at you. What thing is going to trigger him towards that? This is his plot. And unfortunately, it works a lot of the time. Even with good people. Even with good people. This is the problem. And so, don't be those who are in that type of situation. You have to recognize your enemy. You have to recognize those plots. Oh, he's trying to push me into there, right? Okay, I get it. I get it. Let me just stop right here before I get messed up. And we'll end with this, inshallah, just a small uh, story of ibrah for us. Qari Tayyib, rahmatullah alayhi, in one of his gatherings, he was mentioning a person from Bani Israel who was an abid, ma'roof, mashhur. He was a very well-known person to worship and unknown among the people. And so people would come to him and they would request dua, supplication, and they would get religious guidance from him, etc., like this. And he was a very pious man. Day in and night, he would be worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so that attracted many people. And people would bring their water, so he would blow upon it for barakah, etc., like this. And so this was continuously happening. So there was two brothers who used to come to him. And these two brothers, they were very mukhlis, very sincere and dedicated. They would come, benefit, and go, etc. So one day they had to partake, these two brothers, on a travel or trip that would be, journey that would be for a while, that they would stay, have to go. It necessitated them to travel. Both of them had to travel, but both of them, their parents were not alive. Mother and father passed. And similarly, they didn't have any relatives. But they had a younger sister. And the younger sister, they decided that it's not good for us to take them on the travels because it is dangerous. Similarly, it's better that we look for someone who is reliable that we can leave our daughter with. So they thought about it, and they decided that there's no one better than this abid, than this person that we should leave our daughter with, because he is a person who is reliable, he's trustworthy, he's a sheikh, he's a big person, so we should leave with him. So they decided to go to the sheikh. They asked his abid about that, and he first straightforward denied them. No, it's not possible. But then they insisted. And since he was, these two brothers were in his company for so many years, they kept on being what they kind of, it was something that he considered. All right, if this is the situation, they told him that this is our safar, this is our journey, we cannot take her with us, etc. So the best thing is for us to leave her. So he said, that's fine. So he said, right next to his residence, there's a place, a building where we can accommodate travelers, we accommodate others who come and benefit from the shaykh. So we'll give her a room, and we will give her accommodations of her food and drink, etc. So they made this, and they left to the safar, and they left their sister to be there. And so every single day, he would make sure that people would go and give her the food and drink as she needed. Now, why am I saying that? This is a story about how shaitan slowly, gradually builds up desires inside of people, inside of our hearts and our mind. So he is thinking, this abid, that subhanAllah, these brothers have gone, and I am having these people serve her every single day. I should myself go and take that out of just a good gesture, that when she comes out, she sees that she's not just been left alone and abandoned, etc., like this. But people who know her, our brothers, they will be she will be seeing me, and she will be uh, probably happy, at least to some extent. So this thought came in. So he's a couple of days he started taking the food as well. One day others would take it, one day he would take it. So this was the first aspect of a desire that came into the mind of the abd. A simple thing, right? But then upon this, the shaitan, he put into the mind that instead of just going there and, you know, uh, handing the food over, and then the hand comes out and takes the food and finish, and come back and pick it up, etc., that I should at least say, give some greetings and ask, how are you doing, etc. At the end of the day, she's not a fugitive. She's not some prisoner. I should do something, a good gesture. At least, she's a human being. So I should treat her like that, etc. So this thought came. And so now the next step was that he started to now greet her and also, ask how she's doing, etc. Like this. Time went by where now the thought came that, what is this with that just asking, how are you? I should go and, talk to her, go inside the room and talk to her, and probably, just ask, how are you doing? Do you need anything else? Uh, any other things that you will need? And also emotionally get involved, etc., with how she's feeling. Obviously, she's by herself, no mother, no relatives, no people to greet her. So this thought came in, and so he started spending little time with her, and then going off right away after she had finished, taking the vessels, etc., going off. So this was the next step, where now it's him, it's her, alone in the room. Who is the third one? Who is the third one? I don't hear. Shaitan. Shaitan. So time came where now this few minutes became longer and longer and longer. Thoughts became more emotional, more involved, and finally they committed an act. Where did it start? From this, just taking the vessel. Now it ends up being like this. So he didn't say go and commit fornication. What did he say? He just puts these little thoughts in the mind that come as a good thought, maybe, with good intention, but then it ends up becoming something very, very dangerous. And now, what happens? They commit the act of fornication. And sometime later, the brothers are still on suffer, by the way. Sometime later, she gives birth to a child. And now, this Abid is thinking, what am I going to say when they come back and they see this situation? So I have to get rid of this evidence. So what does he do? He goes and he kills the child. Now, after killing the child, obviously, the mother that gave birth to it, this sister of theirs, she is now, obviously, he's thinking, and this is coming in, the shaitan is putting this in his mind as well, that, you got rid of this, but now she's definitely going to say, because this is going to be something that she will never forget. And so when the brothers come back, she will definitely tell them. What does he do? He goes and now he also kills her. And he buries them both in the maqbarah, in the grave. Now some time comes and these brothers, they come back from their journey. And this is another thing that shaitan puts in the mind of the abid. What will you tell them? You will just tell them that simply, she became sick and she passed away. Now the shaitan is making this abid do what? Lie. Tell a lie. And so the brothers come, and this is what he tells. And because the brothers trust him, what do the brothers look at him as? As a reliable person. He's an abid, the person who's so pious. How can he lie? Now this is the situation. So these brothers, they accept that. The qadr of Allah. And so they go back and look how Shaitan comes in the dreams of both of these brothers and tells them that this is not what happened. They committed fornication. And then not only after that, but also he killed them. And this Sheikh lied, this Abid lied to you. This dream comes, and it's a shaitani dream. So they have this waswas, this shubha, this doubt. This doubt has crept into their hearts. They said, well, what do we do? Both of them see it. Let us go and to the grave and the maqbara and see if that's the situation. They dig up the graves and they find the body. Killed. And this right away. This is what. Now they see, no, he's deceived us. He's deceived us. And so they go and they catch this Abd. And they tell him, you not only did this, you did this, and you did this. And then he finally concedes to Allah. He makes it because I did all of it. And so they take him around and they blacken his face and they take him, drag him around the market to all these people to see this person. You are trusting this person who is an abid, a person, a worshipper, has good reputation among society. This is exactly what he did. Brothers and sisters in Islam, a dua of the Prophet ﷺ, in order for us to control our nafs, the shaitan, etc., for not even a blink of the eye do we hand over our thoughts or hand over any of our matters and our affairs to our ego. Very dangerous. This is why the Prophet ﷺ, he made this dua. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum. O living one, O eternal one. Rahmatika astaghith. I ask through your mercy, Ya Allah, that you give me assistance and help. And وَلَا تَكِلْنِي إِلَى نَفْسِي طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ. He said, do not allow or leave me under the control of my nafs for even the blink of an eye. SubhanAllah, look at the beautiful dua of the Prophet. Not even the blink of an eye that I would be under the control of my ego. That's nafsi ammara we're talking about, the bad nafs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us and equip us with the defense that we need to stay away from the egos of our nafs and the shaitan.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. وقال تعالى: إن الشيطان لكم عدو فاتخذوه عدوا إنما يدعو حزبه ليكونوا من أصحاب السعير. وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم: حجبت النار بالشهوات وحجبت الجنة بالمكاره. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم، ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى، والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك، وصل على جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. ورضى اللهم عن ساداتنا أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي، وعن سائر الصحابة والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه، وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. آمين يا رب العالمين. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واستقيموا واعتدلوا. Straighten the lines, fill in the gaps. Please silence your cell phones. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون. وأنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت فيقول رب لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكن من الصالحين. ولن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها والله خبير بما تعملون. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
There was a car parked by one of the reserved spots for our Maulanas. If that was you, please, if you don't mind, moving your car, inshallah, so that we can park and we can start the next football on time. Inshallah, we'll continue with our Friday night program tonight. 10 minutes after Maghrib, we have programs for all parts of the family, inshallah, for kids, young adults, teenagers, adults, and all tafsir as well. That's going on downstairs. We invite you all to come. Inshallah, snacks and refreshments will be served afterwards. Tomorrow we're having our gardening 101 event at 2 p.m. in the back classroom. So with Brother Ayman, so please do come by and learn some helpful tips, inshallah, if you'd like to start a garden or build on one you already have. And we have our Main Street Festival, or the Main Street Festival is tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. Inshallah, ICCL will have a booth set up. If you'd like to help out with that booth, there's a sign-up form on the office door. Please fill out your information. Jazakumullah khairan.